What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 29, and as you see, the New York Jets are coming in off the bye into Indianapolis with an 0-3 record on the road, taking on the Indianapolis Colts. You know, this has been a tough season so far on the road for the New York Jets. They have lost in a multitude of ways that, you know, are at times kind of hard to describe. You know, how they all ended up going down, you know. This is one that, you know, I think they have to get. They are going to get the football to open up this game. And I think it's going to partially come down to the offense. Even though the defense had their worst game of the year 2 weeks ago against the Raiders, I think it's going to have to come down to, the offense, you know. And by the way, the offense had, I believe, 3 turnovers 2 weeks ago. You know, and now it's a third down and inches here on the first drive of the game. Third down and inches, and Ben Colvin tries to pick up a couple of inches, and he just couldn't do it, you know. This is not a good rush defense in the Indianapolis Colts. They're not. Third down and 5, and it's going to be a catch by, I believe that's Curtis Samuel. Kevin Mobley is going to be matched up with him one-on-one, and the Colts did get 3 points. Second down and 8, Matthew Foster, who has had kind of a down year so far, picks up about 2. Third and 6 from the 43. And it's going to be a screen pass here, and Owen's going to connect with Keelan Lake, and this is going to be a loss of about 2.5 yards. Now let's go to the Jets defense here. First down 10, Jameis, he's in the shotgun, and it's going to be Curtis Samuel wide open. And it's a 10 for 12, 123 start, 223 yards start for Jameis Winston. First down 10 for Marlon Mack. Again, forward. They haven't really been able to get the running game going, so that's a plus. And second down and 7, Owen Sullivan makes the play for a loss of yards. Third down and 9, it does lead to a Colts field goal. Now third down and 8 here on this next drive, and Owen Phillips, he's going to fire it to Darian Wiley, and it is caught for a big gain. 27-yard reception for Darian Wiley, the former Buffalo Bill. Second down and 11, Owen, he's going to drop back, and he's going to get picked off. What a play. I mean, unbelievable. I believe that's Mr. Peck, Marlon Peck, who made the play. Just an unbelievable play. Unreal play by Marlon Peck. Just a big time play from number 24. Wow. And the Colts, they got a short field. And it looks like they might take advantage of it. Second down and goal. And I think that was Rashawn Gary who got cut blocked, and Marlon Mack went out of bounds after making the catch. Third and goal from the 13. This is a huge play in this game. Third down goal. Jameis Winston, he's in the shotgun, and he's going to find Irv Smith. And it's going to be a field goal. 9-0 is your score. And on a second down and 1, it's going to be Ben Colvin picking up enough yardage for a first down. 6 carries for 15 yards. A slow start for Ben Colvin. And on first down 10, Denzel Mims has that pass knocked away. Third down and 5 from the 48-yard line. Owen drops back. He's going to find Darian Wiley underneath. And he is going to pick up a first down, 8 for 12 for 80 yards for Owen Phillips. He did throw an interception, which was his 5th of the year. The offense just at times has been very sporadic. Third down and 6, and that is Kareem Whitfield with the catch. And that is going to be short of a first down. I thought he did get it, but now it's 4th and inches. This is very risky. You can kick a 47-yarder, but instead you can possibly pick up a first down just like the Jets did right there. Third down and 1 on this next couple of plays. It's going to be Keelan Lake picking up a first down. Down at the 18-yard line here. First down 10 from the 18, and it's going to be a catch from Keelan Lake. And that is going to be enough for I thought that was clearly a first down. I don't know what the referees are seeing. You know, and now 4 seconds left. I think also the Jets mismanaged this clock. First down goal. They're actually going to run a play, and it's just going to be a quick and just throw it up for Bobby Peak, and he couldn't make the catch. We do end up getting 3. And it's a 3-9 game in favor of the Colts. Right now, this just looks sloppy. This looks sloppy. This doesn't look as careless as it was 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, but you know, this still doesn't really look that good, to be honest with you. It really doesn't. Now you guys see some of the scores around the league. It looks like the Miami Dolphins are going to be taking a step forward, taking a step towards being 500. And the Cardinals might drop under 500. You know, Derek Carr and the Detroit Lions are trying to go to 6-3 and try to really be one of those top teams in the NFC this year. The San Francisco 49ers get a huge one in New England. Jimmy Garoppolo going back to New England where it all started for him. He threw for 266 and a touchdown. Darius Geis had a solid game, you know. And obviously, Owen Phillips, you know, on that rep right there, you know, showing some good pocket awareness and stuff like that. But regardless, only 3 points have been put up by this Jets offense. You know, and I just think it's going to come down to this group. You know, and I think it's also going to come down to both sides of the ball up front. You know, obviously stopping the run, I do think that is huge. You know, I think the Jets defense has done a good job of that. You know, but getting pressure on Jameis Winston and really forcing him to have some incompletions. Only 2 incompletions, as I'm going to show you guys in just a couple minutes. Well, seconds, excuse me. 16-18 for 171 yards. That's not good enough. It's just not good enough to win football games in this league. It just isn't. You know, and I think in my opinion as well, the Jets, if you get down in the red zone, you're going to have to find a way to finish the drives. You cannot find and Kevin Mobley has to do a better job on Curtis Samuel. It is a tough matchup. He has to do a better job, but in my opinion, the Jets have got to figure out a way to force some stops, and also they got to find a way to force some incompletions. 3rd down and 9, and Irv Smith makes a catch. What a hit from Kevin Mobley. What a play. I mean, Kevin Mobley smacked him. Looking like Eminem smack you, dog. 2nd down and 8, and Denzel Mims makes the catch. You know, that's going to be enough for a first down. Let's pick it up here for our next offensive possession. 1st down 10 from the 33, and Denzel Mims makes a catch. He does get his feet down, and that's going to be enough for a gain of 8. And on 2nd down 2, it's going to be Keelan Lake picking up enough yardage for a fresh set of downs. 1st down 10 from the 20. Oh, and he's going to try to step up, and the pocket collapsed, and Matthew Foster, I believe, made the catch, but only for a gain of 1 yard. 3rd down and 7, and a screen pass, and Keelan Lake makes the catch, and he's going to pick up a first. Getting a very great fight from Keelan Lake, who has had some big games this year. And obviously that big game against the New England Patriots is probably the biggest one of them all. And that is going to be a gain of, I believe, let's say about 3. 3rd down, goal from the 6. Offense, he got fired in the middle of the field and get the pass knocked down. He was late, and they do get 3, but that should have been a touchdown. 3rd down and 9. As we're more than halfway through the 3rd quarter, they try to go with the blitz. Jameis Winston finds Irv Smith for a first down. And now we're in the 4th quarter. Now they're down inside the 15. 3rd down and 1. And we put a receiver one-on-one with a safety. Obviously, that's going to favor nearly every receiver in the book. 1st down goal. And wow, the fullback trips over his teammate. 2nd down and goal, and I believe that's Kevin Mobley. No, that's Will Shelby, the 2-time Pro Bowler, making a tackle. And on 3rd down and goal, they go with 3 straight runs, and it doesn't work. But Owen Sullivan is shaking up on the play. And by the way, I'm sorry if I sound like I'm shouting. I don't want to sound like or seem like I'm shouting. I apologize. I've just been pretty busy. So I haven't really done this in a while. But unfortunately, Owen Sullivan, he's going to go back to the locker room, and instead of kicking a field goal, they went for a fake field goal. Well, I just don't understand. First down and 10, Owen's going to take a deep shot, and it's caught by Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims, what a fantastic job just getting down the field and winning off the line. And on third down and 8, just couldn't get it done. Now, 4th and 1, you can go for a field goal, which would be from 47 yards out, and from a kicker that hasn't missed, or you can go for it on 4th and short for the second time in this game, and for the second time in this game, pick up a first down. First down and 10, Owen Phillips, couldn't really find anywhere to go with the football. Incomplete. Third down 11, and Owen just checks it down, and the ball is not caught. So they went for it, and they couldn't get a first down after that. They do get 3 points, but Jameis Winston threw an interception, and on second down and goal, Darian Wiley dropped the ball. Third down and 8 from the 11. Owen's going to drop back. He's going to go to the flat, and it hits the shoulder pads of Keelan Lake. Now, Jameis threw another pick and another chance to get 7. Unbelievable. And Owen fumbled it, but there's another flag on the field. What could this possibly be? We had an offensive lineman pick up the fumble. It's going to be a face mask on the tackle on the offensive lineman. Wow. First down and 10 after the penalty. Darian Wiley makes the catch. 25 of 37 for 243 and a pick for Owen Phillips. First down and goal. I mean, the Colts have really had a meltdown here in this fourth quarter. Second down and goal. Owens in the shotgun. He can't really find anybody, but he's just going to check it down to Levi Bates. I don't know why he fell down, but it's going to be a gain of 3 yards. The Indianapolis Colts have had a pretty sizable meltdown here in this fourth quarter, and a touchdown would seal it, and that's what the Jets get. Matthew Foster for the second time this year. Touchdown, New York. High stepping, flexing on them. And the Jets might have just put this one out of reach. Wow. I mean, the Colts defense has to be sick to their stomach because they got stops in the red zone. For the most part, they shut down the run. I don't know what you want this group to do. And on third down and 10, I mean, the offense, they have had an uber meltdown, and the rookie Clifton Bayer makes a knockdown of the pass. Fourth down and 10. Can you seal it right here if you're the defense? No, you cannot. Our wide receiver one-on-one with a safety. Now they get it all the way down to inside the 5, and Curtis Samuel made the catch, but he ran out of room. 30 of 42 for over 310 yards, 2 interceptions. Jameis Winston, man. And and on a third down and goal, that one should have been a pick. That should have been the rookie's first. They're going to go for a field goal here. I understand that your offense is pretty much collapsed here in this fourth quarter, but you got to have a little bit more faith, in my opinion. And I believe that was Matthew Foster who picked up the fumble. Well, not the fumble, but the onside kick. First down and 10 from the 45-yard line. And that is going to be a gain of nothing. By the way, Owen Sullivan, he is not going to return for the rest of this game. So if the Colts get a stop, the next drive, and really for the rest of this ball game, even if this goes into overtime, which I don't think it will, and that's going to be a first down, but Orlando Brown is down and hurt. And because of the injury, the Colts don't have to use the timeout. We're going to be the ones that are going to have to use it. Well, that's a double whammy, and now we have probably our best offensive lineman out of the game. You know, and that's a solid pickup right there. I think maybe a gain of about 3. Yeah, Orlando Brown will most likely stay out for the rest of this one. And on 2nd down and 5, did he pick up a first down? That's a gain of 5 down to the 20, did he? Indeed he did! Game over! And the New York Jets finally got themselves a road victory. 19-12, but still, was this good enough? Today it was. But to our standards, absolutely, positively not. We did not play, in my opinion, well enough to win. But we did win today. When I mean well enough to win, I mean offensively. We did not play well enough, you know? I mean, we did put together some better drives in the second half. You know, it wasn't as much of a struggle, but we got to do a better job of punching it in. We have to. We have got to do a better job. You know, we have to. You know, we have got to do a better job. There's no other way to say it. We didn't get much pressure, but they have some really good offensive linemen on that offensive lineman in Indy, you know. And by the way, shout out to Kevin Mobley. 5 catches for 66 yards in the first half for Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel only had 1 catch in the second half. Now that could be game planning by the Colts, you know. But I'm also going to give credit where credit is due. Kevin Mobley is actually, in my opinion, had a really good year. You know, outside of, first 2 weeks. You know, but I think if you want to point out a difference in that game, I think honestly the difference was the fourth quarter. Just the Colts just had one epic meltdown. And in my opinion, without that meltdown, as you see the Saints get the win against the Seahawks. You know, Chiefs get the win against the Broncos. In my opinion, if it wasn't for that meltdown, I do not believe we would have won that game. You know, so I think that's 2 wins this year that we've gotten, where we're able to get the wins, and I can just sit here and say confidently, we did not deserve to win that football game offensively. You know, Vikings get the victory. Giants got the win over the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta was on a hot streak before they met the New York Giants. The Giants have been on a pretty big tear. The defending Super Bowl champions are looking like themselves as of right now, you know, and I would not be surprised if they're at the top of the conference by the time the year's over. Now here's the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're also going to look at their stats as a team. You know, we're probably going to do more of a deep dive of that, by the way. I'm terrible at transitioning these. Moving on. Here's some of the guys on their team. You know, this is the 5-3 Jacksonville Jaguars. 5-3 Jacksonville. Let me say this again. 5-3 Jacksonville. This is a good team. Their front 4 is elite. Their linebacking core, you know, with Darrell Bozeman, Joe Schobert. They got a 76 24-year-old and Miles Jack and Alex Caldwell, who I didn't even see when I was recording this. Alex Caldwell, who's an 85 overall. They got C.J. Henderson, Quentin Tiller. You know, in my opinion, if we're going to have some success, we got to attack number 36 when he's on the field. But outside of that, I think it's going to be a really rough game, you know, for some of these other guys, you know. And it might be a rough game for our wide receivers. You know, I definitely do think, you know, this season, in terms of our wide receiver matchup, you know, it's been a lot rougher this year than it was in previous seasons. Without question. You know, and by the way, guys, I'm hoping that I'm not sounding like I'm yelling, or I didn't yell throughout the entirety of the video, you know, and if I did, I apologize. You know, and by the way, YouTube, don't give me that copyright strike. You know, And by the way, don't take off that leaked Eminem diss track. Don't take that off the internet, please. Don't. It's actually you know, one of my favorites. But here's some of the numbers for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You guys saw some of their offense. Here's the defense. They're 4th in yards. 4th. You know, we're 2nd, right? Pass defenses. I would definitely call us a pretty good to good pass defense. You know, as you know, I would say pretty good. You know, because at times we look elite, but other times we look abysmal, right? Now rush defense. They're actually, I would say they're about 10 to 12th in rush defense. Obviously, we are top 5. I think actually top 2. We're actually 2nd. Atlanta's actually been tremendous in that category. And also, you know, now, and remember I told you about that front 4 and that front 7. They are tops in the league in terms of, you know, getting sacks on the quarterback. So this isn't going to be easy. We have to play better, because if we play like we did today, I think me and the rest of you guys should probably expect to head into week 11 5-4 if we don't play better. I hope you guys liked the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Peace.